Hello and welcome to the Sims' Light Switch Marathon stream. This stream is sponsored by EA, so thank you so much EA for making this possible. Today I'm going to be playing The Sims 4 Werewolves and I'm going to be renovating my bar lot that I built for the official game pack. So when I built it, I could only use The Sims 4 Werewolves and base game and no cheats. So today I want to jump in for the first hour of this stream, add some more details, have a little bit of fun, use some of the other packs and DLCs for The Sims 4 and a bunch of cheats and really remaster the lot. We're gonna have a lot of fun with it. And then for the second hour, we're gonna have a couple of developers actually join me. We're gonna be chatting and we're gonna be sort of exploring, how Moonwood Mill came together, chatting about the world, chatting about, the lots and how they decided which lots they would like to see in the world. And, how we sort of worked together to make those visions come true. But let's go ahead and jump into the game. Alright, so here we are. If you haven't already seen the world of Moonwood Mill, this is the new world that comes with the Sims 4 Werewolves game pack, and it comes with 4 beautifully, I might add, pre-built lots. I built all 4 of the lots, so there's a house over this way, it's the Volkov house. Just over here we have a beautiful little starter home. It's a little bit run down, but it's still pretty cute on the inside. I think it's actually pretty good for its price. Then we have this old library, well, I guess it's an old mill that has since been turned into a library by the citizens of the town. And then today, what we're going to be sort of playing around with and having a bit of fun on is this bar lot, the Grimtooth Bar and Bunker. That's right. There's also a bunker on this lot, which, up the top, it kind of looks like there's not a whole lot going on. We've got a little shack there, little outhouse there. But if we sort of go around the back, we can actually see there is like another hidden area. And what's really cool about this is this door is actually it only allows werewolves in. So if you're not a werewolf, you can't get in here. Except there is actually one other way I found out how to get in, even if you aren't a werewolf. So in the world, there's actually these things around the place, like this sewer entrance here, the sewer grate. You can explore the underground tunnels and you'll get through a series of prompts and pop-ups. Anyway, going through those, if you are loaded in on the bar lot, so if we are visiting the bar lot here, there's actually a chance that you will pop out in this doorway and then your sim will be in this underground bunker area, even though they're not a werewolf. So it's pretty cool. You can actually get access down here without being a werewolf, so that's a little sneaky trick. But yeah, this is the actual sort of a bunker area, which is, I designed this to be like an underground sewer, like an old wastewater system that also, I guess, had some access for whatever the heck they were doing down here. I kind of imagined it as part of an old network that maybe connected up to this sort of sewer pipe, well not pipe, sewer drainage area there. There's also a similar looking sewer layout here at the old mill. So we got the same sort of platform configuration. So I tried to sort of tie the two lots together. As you can see here, we've got the sort of higher platform on the side. And also in this area, there's a couple of platforms. But what I want to do, when I built this lot, like I said, I could only use werewolves and I could only use, base game and no cheats. So I actually want to go through and add some more things that I couldn't do while I was building for the official game pack release. So I'm going to first up, just actually have a look at some lights, because one actual big problem I had was the outdoor lights. Like, I think we ended up in an okay place, but some of them, I actually really wanted to maybe use like some sort of street lights kind of setup. Like, whatever this area may have been, maybe it was an old sort of tip or a junkyard or something like that. I could see it being that, but it doesn't have any like big sort of lighting in the area. And I feel like there should at least be something that maybe sort of hints back at that past that was going on here. And that was something I didn't really have available. So I guess I'm trying to look for a light that makes sense for that. Not this one. I don't know why I keep pulling out this light. I just like the look of it. I like the look of it. This kind of looks a little too fancy. We need something that's like industrial chic. Oh, Batu. I love the actual Batu, the build buy stuff for like combining it with werewolves is actually so good. Oh, actually, you know what? This one from Outdoor Retreat, let's go back to daytime. I think this is perfect. It's nothing flashy. It looks pretty like handmade, like they sort of just put it up as is. So I quite like that. So I'm going to use this. I'm not sure exactly how we're going to use it yet. Now, the other thing that I did originally have on this lot, which I quite liked, I'm also going to add on move objects right now because that would be great. I did used to have a bit of spandrel that actually expanded across here. And I actually really liked that, but we, in the end, decided to remove it, the gurus and I, because when you're looking at the lot from the front, it does actually block the bar. You know, it doesn't look as good, whereas if that's gone, let me move that light out of the way, you know, it does create a really nice sight line without that there, but I quite like it. So I'm gonna, oh, I'm going the wrong way. I'm gonna put it back. Uh-oh. No, not that. Okay, I guess I just have to do it. I don't know what I'm doing. So yeah, I was going to put that back because I guess the other issue with it is I did always want to have a some sort of sign or something on it, but again, with the sort of base game selection that we had, there wasn't really any signs that made sense. Like there was nothing we could really put on there that I liked particularly, or that, you know, looked like it was for a bar or I guess potentially an old junkyard. So I guess I'm just going to look for like some sort of sign that we can add on that would make sense. Oh, these, I haven't used these in ages. These old, well, I say old, these signs from Dine Out, they're actually kind of cool. I totally forgot they existed until I just looked at it. So it's an unfilled wall sign. And then, if I'm not mistaken, where are the little, there's like little sign pieces that you add onto it, which is really cool. So if we go packs and go down to Dine Out, I think it's these. Yeah, they like snap onto it, which is actually really cool. Now, this doesn't make any sense for the lot we're building, but I just saw it and I thought that was cool. So for actual signs, I think there was something that looked kind of cool just a minute ago. So this is like a bar, bunker, old, you know, maybe junkyard, let's say. And we've got neon signs over here. We got this sort of old light bulb light up sign there. So we need something along those lines. I always loved this sign, but it's a little small and I don't believe it scales. No. That's actually another thing I couldn't do is I couldn't scale up items when I was originally building this lot. So that's nice to be able to do that now. Let's have a look. There's got to be something. That's a little too fancy. Ooh, this one looks kind of cool. So what is this? We're open neon sign. You know what? That'll do. Let's pop this up. I think it's even the right colors too. And this, I really like this sign because it actually seems to scale properly too. Which not all the neon signs have that functionality. Now, how's that looking? It's a little high, but I don't know if I can make it any lower than that, unfortunately. So let's have a look. Because if I go lower, I think it's too low. Actually, you know what? No, it's not. I think that looks better, I think, in that position. Let's just make sure we try and do our best to center that. That's pretty good. I quite like that. It's a bit of fun. So if we go to nighttime, oh yeah, that lights up. Now, okay, this is looking good. This is looking good. We're done. No, I'm kidding. We're not done. The other thing I would like to do, maybe we could do, well, let's get this line. I want some of these lights somewhere. What other colors does it have? Sort of darker color, white. I don't think it'd be white. That seems too clean. Maybe like the more gray kind of matches these columns over here a bit better. So let's get these. I wonder if I can actually just pop it into that column. I feel like I can, and I feel like that doesn't look bad. So if I pop these there, we had like a really bright entrance. You know what, actually I might do it the other way, because it seems like this would be, you know, you'd light it up so if you were driving in here or something so you can actually see, for whatever this used to be, a junkyard, for example. I think that makes sense. And then, oh, you know, the other thing I really love about coming back to these lots is I can do this now. I can like place things off the grid. I can give them a little bit more haphazard placement, because that's one thing that was actually really important in this lot in particular, was that items look like they have just been dragged in there by some sim or some werewolf and just sort of almost dumped, you know, especially down in the bunker. This is why everything's kind of just everywhere. I know it's kind of like, if you don't know the lore behind this particular lot, it kind of just seems like, you know, what is going on? There's just items everywhere. Essentially, you know, it's an old disused sewer system that the werewolves have sort of taken over, you know, and they've just brought in old items, you know, like this old rundown couch and these, you know, they've put a door on top of a filing cabinet to make a desk, you know, all that kind of stuff. They've sort of just dragged the stuff in there, dumped it wherever. They're not really caring about, you know, how perfect it looks. It's also, you know, it's an old sewer, so it's kind of supposed to be not the coziest or cleanest of places. So that's kind of, you know, that's what it's all supposed to be about. And being able to place items sort of slightly off the grid, if we turn on the grid and just putting them in slightly different places, I think goes a long way to tell that story. I also would like to see if there's maybe some other alternate sort of outdoor seating we could use so we don't have to use the same thing 4 times. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I think it's nice, especially if we're going for the junkyard story, to have something else to also mix up the sort of look of the area, which I think maybe if we go to the outside, oh, stump. You know what, this stump is actually perfect because in the background of this world, if I just jump back into live mode, I can actually just fly over here. This is an old logging town. I mean, the whole place is filled with stumps. So having a stump to then sit on right here, signifying that maybe a tree used to be here, I think that's a pretty great idea. So we're definitely going to do that. We're going to go comfort, and that was in outdoor stump. Yes. Oh, yeah. Now, another thing I noticed during gameplay, I've been playing on this lot quite a bit. I mean, because it is a bar, and that makes sense. So depending on how you set up your lots in The Sims 4, this is a bar lot. It basically determines what Sims are going to visit the lot and what they're going to do. So as a bar lot, obviously the Sims want to go to the bar and do stuff there. But this lot in particular has so many other things to do. One of the problems is that I personally notice is they all just want to sit at the bar. So I'm actually going to remove those seatings there, which are the bar stools. The problem with the bar, we do actually require 4 bar stools. So I'm going to put them somewhere else, to be honest. Like, I think maybe even if we just have them sort of scattered around a little bit. Is there one that's a little bit more rustic than this? Because this was kind of the best option I had for base game. But I think maybe we could do... Oh, actually, if we turn on a really great cheat, so bb.show hidden objects, this actually unlocks the crafted items that you get from the woodworking table. And I mean, isn't this the perfect chair for this lot? So I'm going to put one of these here, remove that tire. There you go. So that, I think, should count as at least 1 so far. Let's have a look. Yeah, it does count, which is fantastic. So we got 1 chair there. I don't think there's any others we can use. I think these are great. I might just sort of use these around the place. So in here, this is like a little, I guess, performing area. Sim can come here, do some singing or perform comedy, that kind of stuff. You know what? I might actually put this back here. Not that the Sim will, you know, sit on it and use the microphone, but that's kind of like, that's a very comedian style thing to do, you know, having the bar stool there, sitting on the bar stool, telling jokes. So I think that makes sense there. I'm just trying to spread out the bar stools around this lot so that not all the Sims are sitting right here. I also want to see, can we, because this bar is placed directly on this diagonal. What if I just rotate it like a little bit? Does this snap in, or do I have to manually place it? It doesn't snap, so I'm not going to do that. That's going to be way too hard to line up. All right, let's get some more bar stools. That's good so far. Maybe we could have like 1 by this table. Now, there's nothing that says in the requirements that the bar stool has to be accessible. It just has to exist. So I'm actually going to put it there. It's like tucked into the table. So a Sim is not going to be able to sit on that. And that's on purpose. I'm doing that on purpose. And 1 final bar stool. I'm going to put this maybe somewhere to do with a bunker. We got this little area here. I don't know what we'd do with it, but I kind of feel like there should be something there. And I might put something on top of that just for decoration purposes. Like, is there something... Actually, if we go debug, so once you have the show hidden objects cheat on, if you search for debug and then just click one of these, it will bring up a whole list of all these items that exist within the Sims world that you can't normally find. Even a baby. Look, we can just bring out a baby. There it is. It's not what I wanted. That just happened to show up. But I'm going to filter by werewolves, and then there should be some really cool items that you don't normally see just in the buy catalog. So there's like all these little collectibles. Let's jump out here. Make it a bit brighter. Okay. Over here. So this collectible, I'm just going to make it bigger. So these are some of the collectibles you find when you're like exploring the underground or scavenging around as a werewolf. So there's those kind of things. Then there's also a bunch of stuff that is, you know, around the world as well. Like these portal potties are another way that you can get into the underground network, like this thing over here. And they are actually, you can see just over there. So you can find all those kind of items. I'm not seeing exactly what I want here, But there's another cheat. If we do bb.show live edit objects, that'll show even more items. And these objects are even more elusive because they are objects that you just find. So these objects that we just find, that they're used in the world as decoration. And that means that they are not always, fully functioning objects for your sim. And what I mean by that is we might have an object, let's just say, actually these objects, these are a good example. So you can get a whole building. These buildings are used around the world as decoration. I can place this down, but my sim will just like walk through it. The sim doesn't even recognize it as an object, so that's something to be aware of with those items. But anyway, having said that, some of these items are really cool. So I'm just looking for some stuff. And actually some of the best items from that sheet that came in Werewolves is all the sort of junk items. A lot of these also exist in Eco Lifestyle. So if you have Eco Lifestyle, you'll be able to find some of these as well. But the junk items are so good. I love them so much. I'm just thinking, what could we put on top of our little stool? How about a fish? The Luna fish. No, let's not do that. What about, what's this? Oh, that's actually really cool. The werewolf urn. I've not seen this yet. This would be the urn that your werewolf gets if they drown. This is a regular werewolf urn. Very nice. And then a werewolf tombstone. Cool. Oh, I love these. Okay. No, I'm looking for like a little decorative item. Something cool that could sit on top of that stool. Like maybe... What about the gnome? Should we have a gnome here? That's a bit weird. I mean, it's kind of... This is all a bit weird. I'm just trying to think of what we could put just on this stool. I was thinking originally like a junk pile, like a pile of trash, but that's kind of weird. What about just like this? Just little clutter items. I don't know. They've just put some books here. It's a sign-in. You have to write your name down to make sure you're on the list. There you go. I don't know. It's just there. Let's also get some... these are great. These werewolf scratches and destruction. I'm going to get some here because, I mean, this is a werewolf hangout. So sometimes some werewolves are going to lose control. And maybe they've just left a few scratch marks around. And I won't do any right out the front here because I don't think it would make too much sense. It's like on dirt. But we could have some junk piles potentially. Could be nice. Where's that trash gone? Oh, we need some logs and stuff around here. I'm going to chuck some logs. Yeah, I love these items. They're so cool. Hang on. We got to line it up with a fence. Just pop it there. Make sure it's not floating. No, that's good. Let's have a can. How about we put a can here? We just put some junk. What is this? I don't know. Some of these items are a bit weird, How about a pan? Why? I don't know why that would be there. What's this? Something. A book? Get a book. It's kind of weird because it's like on a display. So maybe not. Steak tartare. How about some empty glasses? They were having a party here. There you go. Just a few little bits of junk. I don't know. It kind of like just adds a little bit of detail there. So let's go back over this way. We got our bonfire. This is all looking good. I do like that entrance actually now. But we do have the problem of it sort of blocking the bar. Now, there was a few solutions I did come up with for this. And we could... So when I originally built it, one of my solutions was actually to move this whole spandrel to the next level. We're going to elevate it. Literally and figuratively. Because I don't know, yeah, every company these days is using the word elevate when we're like, we're going to elevate to our design to the next level. It's like it'll be like, you go to like a restaurant and it's like elevated fish and chips or something, So this is what I mean. So I'm going to put it up on this level using a fence to do it. And then we just go here, we remove the fence. And then we remove this. Then we now have this spandrel on the next level, elevated. And what we can do with it is actually really cool. So if let's just get rid of this one, just for the sake of getting it out of the way. I can lower it down. I think I might need to move these out of the way. Let me just move those. Actually, I might need to move the fence as well, potentially. Yeah, I think I just got to move these fences out of the way, which is fine. Oh, actually, there is... Hang on. See, there's like a little... What is this? There's like a bit of a spandrel left over, some dregs of spandrel, which is interesting. But that's okay, we can move this down now. Yeah, so we can move this to a different height now. So like, for example, if we were here, it doesn't actually block that anymore. The one downside to this, and the reason I didn't do this in the official lot, is if we are on the ground floor with the walls down, it's just not visible. You just don't see it. And even when you have the walls all the way up, like this, you don't see it. You have to go to the next level to be able to see it, which I guess is actually not a bad thing because it means it doesn't get in your way. We should, I think, maybe be able to, yeah, we can actually still intersect these columns with it, which is actually really cool. So we can sort of utilize this functionality to create an entrance similar. I don't think, actually I might be able to put the fence there. Sometimes you can, if you do a single fence and then put it there, nah, it doesn't work. Sometimes that works, I guess not in this case, but that's all right. We could just leave it as a gap like that. And it might actually, can I extend it? No, well, let me extend it. That's fair enough. Okay, that's fine. Let's get, where's my sign? I spent so long picking out that sign. We got to put it back. Otherwise, that'd be really sad. Where is it? This one, here we go. Scale it up. And I guess, I'm gonna make sure it's in the right spot. I don't know if I want to, I guess I need to put it in the next level. Hang on, let's make sure we have, yeah. I know this looks weird, don't worry. Don't worry, I just gotta make sure I put the sign on the correct level. Because if we put the walls down and there's just a floating sign there, I don't think I will like that. It will make me quite upset. We have a lot of these items unlocked now because we did the debug sheet, so that's what all that is. Where was that sign? It was from Get to Work, right? Let me just filter. Be a little bit easier. There it is. Okay. So where is my grid? There it is. Let's make this bigger. And then we're gonna lift it up, or elevate, as they say in the biz. And it will go somewhere in the middle, which is just about somewhere around there. Is that far enough back? Oh, it's facing the completely wrong way. Let's flip it round. There we go. That's a little awkward. All right, that's cool. So this is gonna go just about here. It just flipped around again. Oh, I see. I think if I go past, it sort of automatically flips it round. Oh, now I'm way off the wall. Okay. All right, I gotcha. I gotcha. Going up. And flip it around. Make sure we get it the right way. Nope. Okay. When it falls down, it snaps to the wall. You know what? I need to make this bigger. Okay, that'll make it a lot easier. Okay, sorry. Sorry, this is taking a few times here. Okay, so that's gonna go just about there, a little bit left. There we go. All right, so the sign is there. It's up a little bit higher. And then these lights actually work even better now because they actually sit inside the column completely, which I quite like. And I made this whole sign wider, didn't I? I actually want to make it, let's make it thinner again. I only made it wider because I was testing to see if we could connect it all, but we actually don't need to do that anymore. It definitely looks too big the other way around. So let's just size that all down. There we go. We can bring these back in again. Yeah, that's good. So then, yeah, so then we get to have this sign. We get to enjoy it kind of how I originally wanted. But like I said, with the downside of, you know, when the walls are down, it's just gone. You know, it's not there anymore. So it's just, you don't see it. You still see the columns, but you have to go up to the next level, put the walls up to be able to fully appreciate it. But, you know, I think that works. And nighttime, nice and bright. Yeah. Okay, let's get some junk. Let's junk up this joint because if this was some sort of tip or junkyard, I don't know why I'm filtered by Get to Work, then we need junk. You know, we need it. So let's search the junk again. Debug, here we go. So if we scroll down a bit, we'll get to, well, there's Werewolves. Eco Lifestyle has a great selection of trash. You know, I'll actually try to use a bit of Werewolves here because, like I said, Werewolves has a good selection as well. Doesn't have as much, but let's use some. So basically, I'm just gonna add junk around the place. I don't want to go overboard. Like, I don't want it to feel like this place is overrun, like completely a sty. But I feel like there should be some good. Oh, there's this light. This is a debug light. Does it actually light up though? Hang on, I gotta put it over here. The problem with the debug stuff, it's not actually functional yet. It's got like light, but it doesn't do anything. We could make it functional by putting our own light in it. I love these lights here too. So these also don't produce like light, but they like light up in a way. If that makes sense. So hang on, let me go back to daytime. Where are these used? Is this just like a street? Yeah, it's just there. I reckon this could actually be, do we try to use this? Because what we could actually do, if I put this here, we could even keep this light. If I just like size it down. Hang on. Make this mini light here. It will still produce, I believe, the same amount of light. But yeah. Oh, yeah. Does that look weird having it stick out the top though? Maybe we should just get rid of the column. Like, what if we just had that? Or does that look weird? You know what? No, I'm going to stick with what I did because I think I might be overcomplicating it. Oh, I love the broken fences too. These are just great. Ooh. Oh, we can use the debug fence. Oh, this is fantastic. So I can put a fake fence in here, which will complete the illusion of a fence. Yes. I just actually shifted a bit. Hang on. Oh, no, I'll just leave it there. It sort of overlaps a little bit there, but that's okay. Oh, that's great. That is great. That solves that problem of it not connecting properly. Yeah. I actually think it looks better like that, where if I just drag the fence all the way there, so you don't see that pole. Yeah. Yeah, that works. Sweet. This is why debug is good. Oh, Greg's house. This is why debug is great. You get all this cool stuff. Some logs chopped down. I don't know if we should have any sort of logging in this area because it doesn't really look like, if we look around the world, that there's any logging around here. There is a lot of junk though, and I'm loving the junk. So let's get some more of that going. We could have a big log, like maybe there used to be a huge tree here. That's kind of cool. It could have been a huge tree in the middle of the town here. And then where's all my junk? Oh, I love these gates are amazing. So these actually, interestingly, they actually block a sim walking through it. So I would love to put it here, but then no one will use the entrance. So, I mean, I guess we could put it there because then they can still walk around. Just kind of cool. Maybe if we move some of this stuff just slightly out of the way. I guess we don't necessarily need this little sign anymore because it was just there because I couldn't do another sign. We could do it like this and still keep it. I do like it. If we did that, then they could just walk around, but then we have like a gate for the old place. Oh, that's cool. And oh, we can use some of these ferns as well, which is really nice because there's some of the plants that are around the world, but we don't actually have access to. But I think it will just also help us blend in. Oh, yes. You know what I can do? I can add way more plants in this area because this is one area that was kind of hard to do when I was originally building this, just because I wasn't able to put that many plants here because I couldn't use move objects or anything. Like I couldn't overlap these. Now I can put it here. I can like raise it up and really hide this bunker in like the growth and all the bushes and shrubbery, which is awesome. Awesome to the max. Hang on, let me just put it around here. Now I've got to use different bushes. I don't want to use the same ones everywhere. Because let's also look around the world. There's a lot of like this long grass and that kind of bush, which I don't know if they are specifically here. Is this it? Yeah, we got this long grass. This is great. So let's do this. Some of this long grass from our world. It doesn't look great when you look from above, so we got to be careful that we don't do too much, and also make sure it doesn't float. Looks great when you look from the side, but above it looks a little rough. Now that bush, the other bush, I believe we can actually find in build mode. Oh, PP bush. We don't need that, but that's cool. I think we should actually be able to see some additional stuff from the debugged sheet. Can we? I thought we could. Sometimes it appears in here, sometimes it does not, but that's all right. Let's go debug. We can get some plants. We're just gonna sort of scroll through. So some of these are base game debug stuff. That's a nice fern. It's got some, like a fence under it or something. There is a really good one, which we could actually see in the world. Hang on, let me just, back to that color there. These are good. These are all the standard plants. Scroll down. The one that I seek is in here somewhere. It's hard to find stuff when there's so many items. Ooh, that's good. Ooh, bush. This one here, the green fern, there it is. This is a good time to mention as well that this section of the stream has been pre-recorded, mainly because the original time that this stream was scheduled to go live was unfortunately had to be delayed. So, you know, due to the scheduling, This has had to be pre-recorded, but you know, that doesn't mean we can't still have some good times and have good fun. So let's have a look. So we got some more plants there. If we go from this side now, because one thing I really wanted to do is make sure you didn't really see it from over here. I mean, this is it's got pretty good coverage. I'm wondering if we should we do more on this? Should we do more plant on the top of this? Like just really, you know, I don't want to go over the top. I don't want to go too far because then I think it probably will start standing out more if we do too much. So let's get maybe this green shrub here as well. We'll put it just more around the sides a little bit. And I'm going to go back to debug again and get out the werewolves stuff because there's some really good werewolves ferns that we were using. Also, these dirt piles are great too. I don't know where I'm going to use it, but I'm going to use it. Get some like longer grass. Where are my ferns at? Here they are, just around the side, just to sort of blend it in with the rest of the build and the hillside here. These are a little bit too big, and the problem with that is we can't get it low enough. So you can see they actually end up floating, which makes it a little bit harder to sort of blend this particular section in. Might be able to... As I might be able to get it to work, not quite. What about a junk pile? No, that doesn't really work either. What about no? Okay. Oh, these actually work quite well on the side here, just to sort of fill that sort of height gap. And then maybe one of these green bushes, I might just size it down. Just around the sides a little bit. So it's still there, it's still visible, but you know, just a little bit more shrub growth back there, which I quite like. All right, that's looking good. Where's more junk? We gotta junk up this joint. I want the actual junk piles now, so let's have a look. What have we got? We got, oh, this is actually really cool. I don't know if I should use that because there's one over there. Is it too much if I have one over here too? Yeah, it's probably too much. It doesn't really fit on the lot. Like I feel like, oh, we could do an old shipping container though. That'd be cool. Like I kind of want to have one that's like open. That could be kind of cool. Like a new structure that was like over here. And it's just been sort of left. What if we put a shipping container? I'd have to go a bit further this way to be able to fit it on the lot. It also, yeah, it won't fit diagonal because this, if we have a look at the size of this, it's about 4 tiles wide. Just over 3, but yeah, about 4. We could probably build this, which I kind of want to, because I think we could do some cool stuff with it. So I'm going to build a container like this. Now, there's a door from Eco Lifestyle that is the shipping container door. So is it 3 wide? It's actually 3 wide, which is great because this kind of looked a little bit too big, to be honest. So I might just even size it down a little bit. Yeah, so we do that. Does it look weird that the fence just kind of stops? Maybe we could do a debug fence so the fence can just go wherever it wants. Let's do that. I liked the orange, so let's do the orange. And then Eco Lifestyle had the matching wallpaper, which is that one there. Beautiful. It looks a little clean, but we'll scuff it up. We will scuff it up. And then, oh, I need the flooring as well. That's probably kind of important. Which is not in this category. It's probably in this one. Here we go. Flooring. No, this way. Okay, so we got a little shipping container. Get it there. I kind of wish we could just have the doors like left open. I think that would look great. But that's all right. Some flooring down here. Yeah. Okay, so that's going to go there. Let's go back to our good old debug menu. I love this because you can just add so many details with this. Like, there's so much you can just add from the debug. Just get interesting items and pieces of junk. Like, I kind of feel like there should just be junk in here, you know? Ah, pallets. Now we're going to have a pallet. We're going to definitely have a pallet with some stuff on it. What about some nuclear waste? Let's get some waste on here. Here we go. Beautiful. Some barrels. Get like 4 of them maybe. I don't know what this is. Maybe it's like a werewolf plasma. No, I don't know. No, it's not that. That sounds awful. It's werewolf cure. It's all hidden in here for some reason. It's a little low, I think. Maybe one higher. And that will just sit about there. Have a couple pallets. I'll actually have this one a little bit off. It's not stacked great. You know, this place has been abandoned, you know. Let's get some junk on the side of this. Yes, please. And also this one is pretty good too. And then we'll get the fence in a minute. And then some junk piles inside here. We should, I feel like there should probably be something in here as well that we can do. Like there's some reason that you actually want to go in here. I don't know what that reason is yet, but we'll have a look in a minute. Okay, and then I want the fence. Here we go. Because now we can use this fence, the decorative one, to put it really close to it, but not, like we don't have to stick to the grid, which is great. So you can actually have a lot more freedom. You can even have like whatever angle you want, which is kind of cool. So what if we did, actually I'll leave that open. That should probably be an opening. Kind of like it was. I don't know. I'm just doing a weird angle because I felt like it. I don't really need to. I might have it angled like that. Just kind of how it was. And then put this one here. Joining it to it as best as I can. And a pole on the end. There you go. So just a little segment of fence there. A fence you couldn't even build, by the way, because it's not exactly on the grid, which I quite like. All right, so we got a little container there. Then we got to have, what's going to be in this container, you know? What's going on here? Is there a Greg in there? There should be an activity, an activity. What do we need? Activities and skills. We don't have a telescope on this slot. Doesn't really make sense for a shipping container though, so let's not do that. It doesn't have to be werewolves, it can be anything. What would I want to come here and, oh, massage. What would I want to come in here and do? Or get? Maybe there is knitting or laundry. I kind of feel like there should be a cool, oh, you know what? There's got to be a cool, there's a cool little Easter egg. No, not Batu. Kind of like Batu. Not exactly though. We're going to use a golden toilet. That's not what I was thinking. Actually, that is kind of funny though if this was a bathroom. That's kind of funny. No, we should use like, the gnome. This is where you can come find the gnome. I'll put it in there. Or maybe there should just be a junk room. Maybe it doesn't need to be anything like wild. It's just for decoration. It's just for fun. Let's get some wall stuff. Where is the wall stuff? Wall scratches. Yeah. Maybe there was some werewolves contained in here. Like someone trapped them in and they're trying to get out, you know? Something like that. Yeah, something like that. This is actually what we have to add to these goo stains to the bunker underground. Because like it was an old, you know, it's an old sewer, so there should definitely be some goop around. And you know, my other favorite goop, the wall goop from Strangerville as well. These ones are so good. I know it's kind of hard to see in here, which I guess is fair. Maybe I'll put a little light. I mean, look, it's a shipping container. It wouldn't have a light in it. But let's just do like one of these lights. Maybe down the end. Some ambiance. Yeah. Get some ambiance in here. There we go. Another little punch on that wall there. I know, that's kind of fun, little shipping container. I guess what you could do with this then, if you wanted to actually download this, like you could put something in there. You know, you could have like a little setup for something. I'm just trying to think, because I don't know what we could do a computer that would attract Sims there all the time. Activities and skills. There's got to be I could do insect farm. What about patchy? Oh, leaf piles. I can just buy leaf piles. That's sick. All right, no, let's go. Okay, I'm getting distracted. How much time have I got? We're coming up nearly on the second hour, which is we're going to have our special developer guests joining me in just under 20 minutes time. So I'm going to have two of the developers joining me. I'm going to be talking about the game, learning some insider secrets as well, which is pretty cool. So I got to make sure I get a little bit of a move on here to actually get some work done, because, you know, I'll still be building while chatting, but probably not as much. So I got to make sure I get enough progress going on now. Let's get a dirt pile, because it kind of just looks like a pile of junk, you know. I like that. A little pile of dirt. Let's get some grasses. Maybe here. I don't want it to like go in the building, because I think that's going to look a little silly. Somewhere around it is good. Is it floating? No, I think that's okay, which is great. Oh, that sign is cool, but a little big. Little big. Oh, can we do it? Can we do another container? Put it on top. Yeah! Not going to, that doesn't make any sense. Let's get some more junk. Trash bag here, trash bag there. We definitely, if this was a junkyard, definitely need an old vehicle. Maybe a couple even, yeah. Let's get a few of those around. Maybe a fridge. Yeah, this kind of stuff, I think, just adds a lot more to the story of this lot and maybe what it used to be. So I put a bag of trash in the bathtub. Beautiful. And a pile of dirt. Is that a collectible though? That might be a diggable pile, so I don't want to just put that around. And this, I kind of like the idea of this pallet just being inside the weeds, you know. The stuff is all grown around it. I love these sort of concrete barriers. I think they're really cool. I'm not sure how exactly I want to use it. Maybe we could just have it here, like sort of behind the fence, just as an extra reinforcement. And then along the barriers, we could have some trash lined up. This is where some old trash has been dumped. You know, it's gotten caught in the wind, maybe just in that spot. Maybe some of these as well. Around there. Yeah, this is looking good. And then some planks of wood. I don't know, man. Something about just junking up the place is just, it's so cool. Some tires as well would be good. Or maybe in here, it should be like sort of, it's just, you know, it's almost sad in a way. They should clean up the place, but there's no time. They don't have time to clean up. They're busy being werewolves. What else do we have that we could use? Do you like the fallen down tree? Maybe we could do that around the back somewhere. I don't want it to look completely out of place, so I'm not sure exactly where it'd go. So when did I put this here? Did I put that there? I might have accidentally put it there. Or did... Oh yeah, no, I remember. I was testing if it had a light. I guess I never removed it. Fair enough. Good. I was like, I don't remember doing that. Let's get this as well, these planks. A little tarp over it. I'm going to get rid of that tree. It doesn't really fit in that spot. Some more logs as well is always good. Not there, it's floating. You got to make sure it's not floating because it looks really bad. Maybe over here on this side. And I definitely need some more trash here specifically because this is very visible. Oh, get that in there. This is very visible to the rest of the town. Like if you're playing in the world, like from over here, you can just sort of see it. It kind of just looks blank on this side. So we definitely need to get something happening over here. We'll get some ferns. We'll get some line of trash. Some line of trash. More, yeah, that one. That's better. And then let's get, where's my wall scratches? Is it the floor? That's the floor. We need wall. So let's get some of these on this. Okay, that doesn't make sense. That looks like a masonry crack, and that's a wallpaper peel. Let's not use those. Those don't make sense. There we go. Some of those. And then we just have like a broken mirror. Because I can, if I place it on the ground, which I can, hang on, if I remove just that wall, put it here. So it's like actually sitting on the ground rather than on a wall. And then build a wall. There we go, it's back. So that's actually sitting on the ground. It's like a broken mirror just hanging out there. That's kind of cool. It's been dumped. Perfect. This is looking absolutely stunning. Some more of this junk too. Some pipes and stuff. Just some pipe junk. Where is... Well, I know where it is. It's in here. I want another gate, I think. I really like that gate item, which is just about here. Thinking we could maybe have one around here somewhere. Or even here. It could have been like an old gate that's now since grown over. You know, I don't know. It kind of seems like there could have been something there. And then if we use like the fence, where's that little broken fence? Yes, there's. I know it's just a wooden fence, but I like it. The barbed fence is there, so maybe it would have to. It would have had to have like stuck out like I don't know. Does this make sense, or is this just a bit strange? That there's like a fence, like a gate's here, and there's like a shipping container. I don't know. I don't know if it makes sense, but I like the look of it. I don't know. It's a secondary entrance. They had fun with it. Okay, you know, I think that already adds some more detail. I think I do potentially need a little bit more junk around the place. Like maybe another pallet here. Because like I think the rest of the lot is starting to look like, that looks like it's got a lot of character to it. Even through this area, just having a bit of junk in there. Looks good. I think I need some junk in this area because this looks very clean. And clean is not what we're going for. So maybe we should get a fridge. Can I add a fridge in the bonfire? I might put this around like the back of this thing. An old fridge there. I need some trash bags. I don't want to put it like right now where people sit down because, I mean, I don't think they'd want to be hanging out right where the trash is. What about this? Can we line? I don't know if they can walk through this. So we might have to play test that. I don't know if they can use the bar. But having trash there I think makes a lot of sense. I don't know how many times I've said trash, by the way, so apologies. I might actually put this here so it's like a little garden bed. That's kind of cool. It's kind of cute. Yeah. We just move these in a little bit. Very nice. We could probably have a bit of wood as well, just scattered. Maybe some planks there. And let's get some junk at the front. Yes, some front junk. Oh, yes, this is good. Okay, put this here. Let's have a look now. Let's have a little step back. That's good. I feel like we need something here. Maybe even just like a bush or grass or something. I don't know. It's some, and actually, this kind of works because then, because there's something for it to sort of sit on or like get caught in, we could definitely have some junk. You guessed it. Junk. Let's see. Let's do a dirt pile underneath, or like up to the side there. And then, is there any like smaller ones? Like these are all pretty big. I guess I could try scaling it down. I don't know if it looks weird, like tiny, but maybe that works. That's all right. That's pretty good. That is looking pretty good. And maybe just another fern there. Because then that just adds something in that spot, and we got junk all around it. Yeah, that's starting to come together. Now, how much time have we got? We got a couple minutes left before our special guests join. Some awesome developers. We're going to be talking about the world. I think I want to probably work on something a little bit down here whilst we're having a chat. Maybe what we could do is... Oh, I would like to maybe make these this bathroom... This is kind of the best I could do. With the base game and werewolves. So I'm wondering, maybe we can make this bathroom. Oh, yes. Yes. That's it. That's the one. Now, shower-wise, what can we even do with that? Like, I mean, I guess just this, really. Old stanky shower just coming out of the wall. And we're just gonna add more cracks. Now, sink. There's gonna be a good sink. This one probably is a good one. I like that. Yeah, this bathroom is already infinitely better. This is so much better. And then the mirror, we could actually use... What about the werewolf one? Yeah, it's just really tall is the problem. Like, I can move it up with move objects and put it, like, up here. It'd have to be, like, up there. Like, that kind of seems ridiculous, doesn't it? Maybe we use the get to work one, like the really tiny one. Yeah. Now that's a bathroom you can be proud of. I don't know if that toilet makes a whole lot of sense though. Like why is it like a hand? Actually, you know what? I got a better idea. Let's get rid of this one. This toilet is gonna be this one. The sort of one from Get to Work, the cold steel. Which I think actually definitely fits this area more. And then over here, the outhouse. Oh yes, we can make this outhouse make so much more sense now. Old wooden toilet. And then the sink. Log? No. This? Yeah, maybe this one. That definitely fits better in my opinion. Like, way better. And then, can we do... We need, like, public bathroom stuff. Or I guess, I don't know. Yeah, that's probably right. Pile of feathers. Let's get a pile of feathers in here. No, get rid of that. Yeah, that's way better. I love that. That's so much better. Oh, you know what? How much time I got? We're running... Well, we're not running low on time. We'll continue, but, you know, I'll be talking with some of the awesome developers, so I want to make sure my focus is on that and not just building. We're getting goo in here. Goo is the answer. Let's get the wall goo. I don't want to know what the wall goo is, but we're going to get it and we're going to put it in here. Let's get some just here. Very nice. And these ones are great because it's a nice big splatter. Oh my god, it can go over the door. That is nasty, but also kind of cool. I actually have a question. If I put it like over a window, can I see it from this side? No, I can't. That's actually kind of good because yeah, the door will open and the splatter will stay there. Like it will be floating and it doesn't stick to the door. But if you're playing from this side and you walk in, you won't see it. So like it won't like show up, which is good. So it won't look too bad unless you're looking from this angle. Get one on that wall too. Yeah. And where's my cracks and stuff? Look at some vampire cracks in here. This place is not doing so hot. Oh, actually this. Although that doesn't make much sense, does it? Would there be wood planks over other wood planks? That doesn't make sense. Wood planks over wall? It kind of would just be wood and then just probably you'd be able to see through it, right? So I'm not going to even do that. Should we do, is there like, what about, is there another window we could use? Like just a small, yeah, just a small window to the bathroom. Like I want a small one that's just like a hole, you know? Okay, no, let's just leave it. I think that's good. That's a good goopy bathroom. Now down here, so this is like an old sewer. And what I was saying earlier, this goop, we need this goop. This is gonna absolutely take this to the next level. Let's change the goop. What color should it be? Actually, the sort of middle grayish color. It's still green, but I think it sort of blends better with the flooring in that color. Let's get some smaller ones. I need as much goop down here as possible, you know. Oh, I have that seeping out from the couch. Yes. These are the best things added in the game ever. Oh, I can't quite get this right to the edge because I scaled it down, so maybe I'll just leave it bigger. It's like that. Oh, yeah. They look like really nasty stains. And I think that's what just makes them so amazing. You know what also might be good down here? Is, well, cracks as well. Because when I was building this, I don't think I had these. Like, they weren't in the game yet. So it's nice to see them now. Let's get a huge one over here. And recolor it to that one. Yeah. And I don't want to do too much trash down here, but we'll do a little bit of trash. It's going to have a little bit of trash. I know we did a lot upstairs, so I don't want to go overboard down here. And this kind of just needs to be a little bit more dingy. Oh, you know what is good too? All the cobwebs for sure from vampires. These are so good. Just for adding the atmosphere as well. Oh, put it in front of the light. Oh, yeah. I kind of want to make this place a little bit darker too. So I might go into live mode and actually turn the dimness of the lights down a bit more. It's getting some wall goop, so the walls are a little scummier. Because, I mean, you can imagine, this place, I guess, would have been really damp and, like, nasty. So I feel like it should probably be still like that. Put those cracks behind that picture because it adds a little bit of texture. It's kind of nice. Oh yeah, this is just the little like finishing touch that it needed. Cobwebs, cracks, goop, all of the above. Where does this one go? In here. Now I know there were some comments I saw where people weren't like too like super keen on the plants. But we were trying to make it a little bit more cozy. I'm going to remove some of them. And also because like the Wild Fangs, not the Wild Fangs, the Moonwood Collective, they are much more peace-loving and, you know, they love to do gardening. Like if you go out in the world, so not the Wild Fangs, I keep saying that. Moonwood Collective is one of the werewolf packs. So the Wild Fangs, the other pack, it hangs out here. Moonwood Collective hangs out over this way. And they love to garden, so you'll see them actually out in the world gardening here. So the idea is, because this is like a werewolf-only hangout, is they were down here doing... Oh, this looks so grungy too now with the group. They were down here doing a little bit of gardening. And that's also why there's some plants over in the library lot too, because that was the idea. Oh my gosh, yes, this TV is way better. The Sims 1 style TV. Yeah. Do I have enough bar stools? Yeah, I did. I put them upstairs. That TV is great. It's so good. Yeah, this is good. This is good. And then, oh, you know what I do want? I was just trying to think. When I was playing this in my Let's Play, I really kept wanting a treadmill because we've got like the boxing thing, punching bag. I couldn't think of it. The punching bag, and we've got the weightlifting machine. But I actually wanted a treadmill because I wanted to get my Sims fitness level, or like the fitness on them going. But nowhere had a treadmill, so I actually wanted to add one. But I guess we got to find one that kind of fits, which is probably not easy because none of them really fit. But maybe we can just, you know what? Let's add this over here. Sure. that looks a little nice. I'm going to be honest. It looks maybe a tad too nice, but we're going to put a mirror there so you can look at yourself while running. There you go. And then we'll solve the problem. Debug junk. Let's have a look. Werewolves. Let's get out the junk. Some of this. Some of these there. Move that forward. And then some trash just real quick. And then we'll wrap up this first portion of the stream, and then we'll jump on line. Oh, look, there's this tire stack. I just found that. Dang it. And then we'll jump on with the gurus in just a moment. Maybe get these just in here. That'll do for now. That's great. All right. Okay, so that's the first portion of my stream done. We're going to be continuing for another hour. I've got 2 developers of the game joining me. We're going to be hanging out, chatting. We're going to be discussing, you know, how I built these lots, how I worked with the team, how they decided which lots they wanted in the world, and we're going to be talking about some behind the scenes secrets. And then directly after me, right here on this channel, MXM Toon is going to be streaming as well. So stay tuned for that. And now for the special guests. All right, I'm now being joined by 2 other developers who worked directly on The Sims 4 Werewolves. I've got GrimSuruDoi and SimGuruNova here, so thank you for joining me, guys. Nova, did you want to tell everyone what you have been working on with Werewolves?
Yeah, I'm Molly, or SimGuruNova. I was one of the producers on the pack. I worked on quite a few features, mainly like all the packs features, so for the werewolf packs, and recipes, small telescope, and a bunch of other fun stuff. Yeah.
I love this small telescope. It's so good. I'm so glad we finally got that. Yeah, that's really cool. And Doi, so what were you working on with this pack?
Yeah, so I was gonna say, I was the design lead on Werewolves, which meant that I got to work a little bit on everything and also not specifically on anything. So gave a lot of kind of guidance on stuff, trying to figure out what's going to go in this pack, and how we kind of pull it all together. Although I did spend a decent bit of my time on trying to make sure that our kind of lore across the pack was cohesive, and kind of tracking where we were going to put that in which features. So that's probably what I would say that I worked the most on, but I got to see a little bit of everything that our entire design team sort of was able to deliver here.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, now that I've actually had a really good chance to play this pack a lot, the lore is actually really interesting. So I think that was done really well in this pack, especially with when I was building the lots. I got a lot of good information, especially on the Volcops. So being able to build a house and then also seeing how that tied into the story of the world and everything is just, I think it just adds so much more depth. And it actually makes this particular world feel like really alive.
That makes me so happy. Oh, I was just gonna say, I was like, lore. I one of my favorite parts of like working on Werewolves was writing, and like I got to do a lot of lore heavy features, like the new collection, which we like really wanted to hit those big lore beats, and like you kind of working off of the like framework that GrimSuruDoi put together for us. Like it was really a cool opportunity to dive deep on it.
Yeah, I mean, I've found it really interesting playing through it and learning about each of the characters in the world, and I love the little different bits of tidbits you find out. I don't want to spoil it for anyone that hasn't actually got into it too far yet, but you definitely want to go around and ask all the residents, you know, about Moonwood Mill, because they have something different to say and different pieces that sort of join everything together that way, which I really, really love. And from my perspective, yeah, when I was building the lots, I didn't know, like, every single intricacy that you guys were putting into it, but you definitely gave me enough that I was able to sort of work with that. And then putting all the pieces together, playing it, it's actually really cool to see how that's worked out. So, I mean, it was just great. It was really, really good, and I love that you guys did that.
Yeah, I was going to say the obviously the lots that you built were fantastic. But it was so like very rarely, I think, on The Sims 4, because we're kind of working, as a kind of game that tries to simulate so many different kinds of stories. We want to give the player a lot of freedom to be able to tell their own story. A lot of times our features aren't able to focus as much on lore, because the more you kind of have that specificity, the more you have to kind of make that compromise of like, well, then you're playing as part of this story, right? Like there's still freedoms that you have, but like the more specificity we have, we know that's a trade-off in terms of player freedom. And for this pack, we really wanted to deliver that, and so we're more willing to do that. And it's one of the few times I feel like in designing for The Sims when I've able to be actually go off and kind of write a document that was sort of just like a story, right? Like a history of werewolves in Moonwood Mill. I think the two other times I've ever done that were one kind of exploring the Omiskin kind of culture in Salvadorada for Jungle Adventure. And that was something that I think made its way into some of the catalog items, but that was more kind of a tonal kind of piece, right? It was kind of like trying to set the tone of that kind of ancient culture that you were exploring in Jungle Adventure. And the other was way back in Sims Medieval, when I got the opportunity to kind of like write the story of the two religions in Sims Medieval, which is super fun. But like this was the kind of the third time that I feel like thinking about when we're able to sort of write more specific stories in The Sims, right? And so I was super happy that we were able to do that, but also like get it early enough that we were able to get those stories to you as you were building, right? Even early on. And so all the households and all the lots were able to feed into that in a very kind of singular and cohesive way. And I think the world really benefits from that. It really feels like a world that is lived in and has these, the pre-made Sims with their stories that not only are just in their bios, but also when you play, right, it comes out through the social interactions and the ways that you can figure it out through books and stuff like that.
Yeah, that lore documentation is probably like one of my most open tabs during production. Like, I think I had like a million tabs of it open, just like always referring back to it. It was really cool to get to work off of that.
Yeah, so wait, yeah, if there was that much, did you ever have a point where you sort of had an idea and you went to like that would be really cool to have that, and then you realize it conflicted with something else you'd already said? Or were there any like, even because there's some little bits of lore that connect to previous packs. Again, I won't go into specifics on what it is because I don't want to spoil it. But did you have to like sort of go back and make sure that that made sense and it wasn't something that was going to be like, hang on, that can't be possible?
A lot.
Yeah.
There's what like when I was thinking of I like worked on fleshing out a lot of Greg's like personal life backstory, because I'm a sucker for like non-monolith kind of bad guy characters. Like they have a tortured past and like emotional, like motivation for how they are now. And I think like I was a lot of messages to Morgan about, hey, I have this idea. Does this sound crazy? And then like referring back to the lore doc and seeing like, okay, like let's see how we can weave this in different places, like drop hints, but also not have it be just kind of like we just tell it. Like you kind of discover it through different parts of the game, whether it's like an object in build by or conversations with the Sims themselves. Some of the things that Greg says are very illuminating.
Yeah, it is really fun. Like, even if you don't, I guess, uncover every single piece, you do get, a portion of the story. And I think any one piece is really interesting, but then it's when you start realizing how they all join together. It's actually a lot of fun. And one thing I specifically had fun with was with the underground. You get all these really cool descriptions of, what it looks like, what's going on. So I decided to take that as inspiration to then come back and renovate my library lot and actually build some of the locations that you kind of described. So, like for example, when you come down this little hallway, I actually built like the frog city. You know, there's a
Frog
bunch
City,
of frogs hanging.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh my.
So I had a lot
I
of
remember
fun doing this. It was on a stream a little while ago that I did, and we were sort of going through those descriptions, building those areas, and it's really fun to have those prompts and see it all come to life, you know? So it was so much fun. So we got
That
the
is
frog city in
awesome.
here, and of course we have the frog chair from one of the recent kits.
Belongs in
Incredible.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like what I love is also I think it would be fair to say that when we first came up with the idea of Greg as sort of
Mhm.
an antagonist in this pack, we had no idea how popular he would be, how much the community would just kind of like
Yeah.
take Greg and really run with him in a way that exceeded all of our expectations. I think good and bad, right? In every direction.
Mhm.
But I want to like part of the fun of developing was really the the seed of coming up with the idea of Greg was really that we were looking for an antagonist in this world, right? Someone that could help you tell the story of like, oh, there's a werewolf that you have to look out for, that if you provoke him, he might bite you and turn you into a werewolf, that would
Mhm.
provide that kind of like situations for fighting and stuff like that. And that was really kind of the very baseline of the design, right? And kind of spinning out from that, I think props to everyone on the team for adding to that, right? One, like figuring out what he was going to be, the fact that we're just going to name him Greg, that felt like it made him kind of like a little bit funny, a little bit whimsical, a little bit mysterious, was something that initially started as a kind of internal joke, and then the more it was in the game, the more we sort of just liked it, right? The more we felt like it felt correct to Nova for going with that sort of base of some history that we had with Greg in the original document and really fleshing him out and giving him character and giving him story. And then I've also loved seeing all the things that the community has done in terms of who like Greg is in their story, right? Like
Mhm.
that has been an absolute blast to see.
Yeah, I
I was gonna
think,
say, I know
yeah.
that he's looking for frogs right now. This was
Mhm.
something that's kind of like just a behind the scenes. The designer that worked on implementing a lot of kind of Greg's behaviors had from the very beginning put this uh, water pump over here because we wanted to have spawners around the world, figure you to be able to
Mhm.
find frogs, but also like the idea that underneath his gruff exterior there are some soft parts of Greg, and one is that he really likes frogs, right? That was something
Mhm.
that felt like a cool little bit. And I remember for the
Yep.
longest time there was a period in development where even though it was there, something with autonomy was broken and Greg wouldn't go like look for frogs on his
Mhm.
own, and it felt like such a small thing like in terms of all the things that Greg was doing. But I remember she was very upset every day. She would just be like, Greg still isn't looking for frogs and we need to make sure that he looks for his frogs, otherwise who is Greg really? And so I'm glad we got that in the end, and he's there lovingly searching for his frogs most times when you're
Yeah.
going to look for him.
Yeah, I was just
Yeah.
laughing thinking about so like that designer SimGuru, not Vlad, who was on the live stream I think that we had. Like it was so cool seeing how Greg evolved too. Like it was a lot of little tweaks I think over time that kind of built up his behavior. Like I think one of the earlier iterations of Greg before he even had his like appearance ready, he was just kind of like a goofy dude and he ate potato chips a lot and I was like I was like, okay, like it'll be interesting to see kind of how he like evolves, and I think like a lot of the decisions made and the tweaks were really really cool to see it come together to create the enigma that is Greg.
Yeah, I do. Like talking about his name before. I mean, it is just kind of. It's kind of just like at first you're like what, but then it's kind of like it's a bit of fun because it subverts what you think he should be called, especially with his appearance looking a little bit more menacing than maybe some of the other werewolves around town. I think it's great. Also, I mean, what's the story behind this right there? Who is he married to, or was married to? And it's nice. He still has the ring on in werewolf
Hmm.
form. It's beautiful. Oh, there it is.
People caught that, I think, really early on too. Like that there were screenshots on Twitter I remember seeing, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you guys!" I was like trying so hard not to tweet like spoilers about it because I was so excited.
Yeah, yeah. I think I only realized that semi recently because I was playing the game and, I was trying to get Greg to like me. He's making it tough. We get so far and then he just wants to fight. So we go back to square one. But then I was like, hang on a second. He's got a secret that I don't know about yet. So I also like that he does go to this pump here as well because it does provide, it makes the player also think to check this too if they don't know about frogs or where to find them. So I actually quite like it from that perspective as well. And I think this world is, I would say probably is one of my favorites. I know it's, currently the newest, but I think it is one of my favorites because it does feel like so full and there's so many things to do other than just, visit a lot and do something there. I'll often find myself just, loading into one of these lots just because I have to be somewhere, but then, I'll be wandering off doing something over here, up on the back, hanging out with the packs or something. And it is just so, I can't say it enough. This world is so well done and it's really, really great to play in.
Got some well-built lots on it too.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
I don't know who did that.
Didn't
but,
want to say that.
Good on them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it's,
Yeah, sorry.
I was just gonna say, SimGuru Morgan said something about that, like, while we were doing testing. She's mentioned how like the world almost feels open in a way, and like not officially, open world, but there's so much you can do just being on your home lot. And I remember like when she said that, I realized like I had been testing PAX features that day, and like I realized I spent almost the entire time like I didn't even travel, and I was doing all this stuff with like the PAX shell, like going around town, going to the tunnels, like the brawling grounds, like everything, or sparring grounds. It was like, yeah, like there's so much you can do. You don't even have to like go to a community lot to like feel the community of the town. I don't know, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, totally. And also, I mean, one of the things I try to do with these lots, and it's also, something that was requested, is having like there's a bunch of different activities on the lots to do. So even if you found yourself, at this library, you don't necessarily have to leave to do something else. You got the sort of books and the computers, and also, gym equipment there too. Where and also so does a bar lot. It has all that kind of stuff. So you don't need to sort of break the gameplay to go do something, which I think makes a big difference. And that you don't need to keep loading around town, which I think is really good, especially for you're trying to be a werewolf, you're trying to, maybe let loose and run around. So having that sort of open space and not breaking it up, it has been really fun.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like it allows rampaging werewolves to interact with the world a little more dynamically as well.
Mm-hmm. The one thing that with the rampaging werewolves, when I unlock the ability to devour objects, I really want to devour the lots, but I'm like, well, then I have to put stuff back in there because I'll break the lots. So I've ended up just going around to random NPCs' houses and just eating their stuff instead, which has been fun too.
Seems the right way to do things.
Yeah.
Eat the entire land grab household.
Oh yes. The problem is, my main save game that I play in, I think I've been playing it since City Living is when I last started fresh on that save. So all the like default NPC, townies are gone, which is upsetting because I would like to go to, their house specifically, not who lives there now. It's not the same. I got beef with some of them. Yeah, so I came back and renovated this lot with, like debug stuff and all the other packs as well, which was a lot of fun. As I did, and I basically just added a bunch more junk to it, pretty much. Because I felt like having a bunch of paper everywhere and piles of trash kind of just added to the vibe, and I had a lot of fun with that. And then
it looks awesome.
Thank you. And then some of the other stuff, I think, this was the busted chamber prompt. Hang on, I think I've got the actual things. Busted. Oh, here we go. Busted room. I pull this up. So this is one of the prompts you get when you're exploring the underground. And so I used, like I said, we did the Frog City just before. This one was the busted chamber. It looks like someone was trapped in there. So you sort of come down this little hallway. I'll just jump into this mode. Hang on, get closer. And yeah, this was so much fun to sort of go through and build. You know, we got all these scratches everywhere. Looks like they're trying to get out. And,
Oh,
you know, at some
nice.
point, I guess they did. And where they went, I don't know. But yeah, just building these like little hallways and all that and figuring out you know, how it all sort of fits together with some of that stuff was a good fun. I think also one of my other favorite bits is if we head down this way. Actually, I'll jump into this mode. It's a little bit easier to see. As I use the some of the fountains to have like the sewer flow down to the
Oh,
lower
that's
level.
awesome. Yeah.
Whoa.
I mean, I would have loved to do this for the official lots, but you know, I used like I don't think like a bunch of packs on this, and you know, so many cheats.
I have to say, I'm a huge fan of the like, you know, mainstream build buy of this pack, but the debug is like really
so
good
good.
for this pack. I was shocked when I first saw it. I was like,
Yeah.
whoa, like some of these things are awesome.
Oops. Yeah, I know. When I was building the lots, I was like, man, I want to use this stuff so bad, but I know I can't. So then, yeah, we got the sort of garlic braided, I guess, hallway.
Giving a little protection, yeah, in that hallway.
And the little sort of hangout room down here that's been abandoned. You know, gonna have to explore the underground to find out the details behind this room. But yeah, it was a lot of fun doing all this. And we've of course got a little enchanted room down the bottom. It's hidden away. Yeah, so that was what I did with this slot. I just came back. I didn't change too much of the existing build because I actually quite liked it in terms of like I didn't want to clutter it too much. I actually quite liked that it's not overly cluttered, especially because it's supposed to be in a abandoned factory where the townsfolk have brought extra items in. So I kind of thought that was fine as it was.
Yeah, werewolves need their room too, right? You don't want to pen them in too much with furniture. They need space to move around and howl and scratch.
Yeah, I when I was building these lots as well, because I avoided any of the gameplay because I did want that to be a surprise for myself when I actually could record the gameplay and all that. So yeah, when I found out that you could do all this like eating the objects and scratching stuff, I was like, oh, I should have put like just a pile of junk that you could work your way through. Because I think that would have been good. Yeah, and I did do it. I was working on this today, just earlier today, and also same sort of thing, just a bunch of junk. I might go into build mode so we can actually see a bit better. Just a bunch more piles of junk around the place and some of the debug stuff, like this gate out front. Yeah, the debug in this pack is great. Just so much like industrial stuff, pieces of junk, chopped down logs. Got this giant tree that was maybe here at some point,
Mm-hmm.
That's good fun. I think though this build in particular, building it for the pack was so much fun because it was kind of like, well, I mean, all the lots were a blank slate. I think the library, like the old mill, had the most sort of, I guess you could say, directive. You guys kind of wanted it to be a factory or an old mill, and I was like, okay, that's fine. But this one was kind of just like, it's a bar, it's got this bus, and most of it should be underground. The hangout space. And I really liked the idea of that, and just trying to figure out what it would even look like and what would make sense to be down here. Not just like, because if it was just like a regular room or house or something, I felt like it wouldn't really work. So then trying to tie it into the sort of sewer network and make it almost look a little bit like a sewer it was so much fun trying to solve that and figure it out. And yeah, I had a lot of fun doing this one, and with all the new items just looking so scuffed and dilapidated, it was great.
Yeah, I think you totally nailed the vibe with the sewer aspect. It was really cool to see.
I also, yeah, I try to make sure that this looked similar-ish, to the library where it has that sort of exposed sewer just over here. So they have the same sort of platform layout and all that to join it together, which was a lot of fun doing that. And I'm so glad it actually worked because when I first did it, there's the guidelines with the lots in terms of you can't do too many things. And platforms is kind of one of those because I think, as I understand it, each like platform edge or maybe even each tile is like a different portal for a sim to travel. Like so they would route a certain way on it. I think is it something like that? So you have to be careful not to have too many like stairs and platform edges.
Yeah, I'm not certain. I know Morgan would know because
Yeah.
she's worked with the limitations as we go pack to pack. But I do
Mhm.
know that we do give you a bunch of rules, and I always feel a
Yeah.
little bit bad, right? Because like looking at what you did with cheats and debug and able to kind of like really go all the way with that kind
Mhm.
of rebuilding the underground that we just looked at, right? That looked incredible, and it always feels a little bit bad to be like, well, there's a lot of stuff that you can't do just because it either saves in a weird way if we're shipping it with the pack,
Mhm.
or just from a performance standpoint because we have to keep in mind all the specs of all of our players. But I was going to say like that the underground bunker. I think again like the thematically right. It is right on there, and I think the kind of the space and what you're able to fill it with. I think also like I remember the first time I saw this and was just actually able to play with it when we were in
Mhm.
production, and I was like, oh yeah, this is this is exactly what we want for our
Mhm.
secret little werewolf bar.
For sure.
Yeah. I think yeah, and because I did build a few lots for Snowy Escape expansion pack as well a little while ago, so I remembered, working within the restrictions. So this time when I built originally, I did hold back a fair amount. Like I didn't want to go too far, and then I think pretty much every lot I built, some of the feedback was like, "Yeah, let's get some more stuff in there." I'm like, "Okay," because adding more stuff in is a little bit easier. But yeah, I just didn't, especially with I guess the houses. I didn't want them to feel like too restrictive in terms of what you could do with it. Like you don't want to make it too hard to change them or move stuff around. So those I was a little bit more reserved with. Although even having said that, the Volkov house I did have a lot of fun with having a little bit of terrain manipulation around it. So you got like the hill and all that. So it's not perfectly flat. And I don't know. I always felt like that added quite a bit to it because it's supposed to be a little bit more hidden away. But it was kind of hard to make it super hidden, being a two-story
Mhm.
house.
Yeah.
But
Really.
I
But it
think I think
works.
it turned out okay in the end.
Yeah, I also thought it was cool, and I think you talked about this in your video a bit of like striking the balance with the starter home and this house of which one's going to feature kind of the
Mhm.
rundown sort of used object aesthetic, and then which like the base game having a bit less of that. So it's more, I guess, like not lived in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool seeing that evolve. I think like and kind of like how you struck the balance between the two uh looks delivered.
Yeah, because I think we went back and forth on that a little bit. Because I think at first I had the starter home a little bit more, I guess, rustic and run down. But then we were sort of pushing more with that on the Volkov house, so then they kind of felt similar. So I stripped back the starter home, made it a little bit. It still, feels a bit cheaper, but it's not. It doesn't have the same sort of furniture going on in it as this one, which is a little bit more handcrafted. I guess the idea being that they're much more handy here, so they potentially built this house themselves and maybe some of the furniture pieces. And I think that worked out quite well.
Totally. Yeah, and the starter home still kind of captures that Moonwood Mill vibe, even if it is like less lived in, I guess.
Hmm. Yeah, well, I mean, didn't want it to stick out like a sore thumb because I mean we're still in an old, milling town, so having it couldn't be, it couldn't be like brand new or anything like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Check that out as well.
Like,
Yeah,
I don't know how many
yeah.
people actually attempt it on their own, but I think the thing is like all of these lots for this world look so natural. I think they look like they fit, and they really are supporting for the Volkovs, right? Like the story of that household. I know that for this starter home, because we often are testing by starting a new game when we're in production, I moved countless households into this starter home as it was
Mhm.
like in progress to be able to play werewolves. But I'm curious if like we talk about the restrictions, and I would say if you want to experience that, right, I think it is tougher than you think because one, you can't you have to use werewolves and base game objects,
Mhm.
right? For
Yep.
the starter home, you're restricted by that budget. And then in addition to saying, right, no cheats, no debug, none of this kind of like alt placement and stuff like that. That still gets us at something that that looks like it delivers what we'd expect, right? For you moving into this home and being like, yeah, it feels like it fits in this neighborhood. It feels like there's variety between the lots that are in this world. I think there's in some ways, like when you had gone through your videos of like how you'd made it, I'm always impressed by our community and our builders that feel like
Mm.
everything comes so naturally, where you're just like, oh, we'll put this here and we'll use this and like this will make it look like this. And at the end, you're like, yes, that's exactly, you've accomplished exactly what you've said. I remember when I try and build in game, I'm like, everything looks kind of a little bit awkward and a little bit artificial, or like it looks too run down. And I feel like the balance here across the lots and with the kind of restrictions of what you can actually use from base game and werewolves is just it comes out looking like so. I'm always impressed by our builders.
It's funny you mentioned the testing bit. I was just thinking as you were loading into this lot, James, like the number of times I've had werewolves like scratch up, eat this entire house, pee on the floors, set everything on fire, like just complete mayhem has occurred in this house.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, that's something because I didn't put a fire alarm in this place, which I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember if that was intentional or not, but I kind of now retroactively I'm gonna say it's intentional because I think it's kind of funny having the fireplace and the stove, and if it catches on fire, it's the chaos. I love the chaos in The Sims, so I mean
for
when I was
werewolves,
placing
it's perfect.
yeah, when I was placing the fireplace and the rug, I was like, I'm not actually sure if this is going to be an issue. But I was like, that doesn't matter. Let's go with it because it's just a bit of fun. Yeah, with the restrictions, especially, I think the hardest thing is the no move objects and also no like free placement. So you have to place snapping to the grid. Albeit you can use this sort of quarter tile placement, which is this, where you can snap a little bit smaller in smaller increments with pressing F5. But even that makes it's still so much harder to sort of get stuff to feel like it's not placed perfectly.
Not just a little bit off. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. But it's a great fun little challenge as well. Like, and people have already been building some really cool stuff with this pack. One thing that I actually really like, which wasn't, I don't think initially what was going to happen, was on the 3 lots that we have in the town area. So these 3 lots, they actually join pretty nicely to the roads, which I'm so happy about because it makes it a lot easier, especially for the factory lot. When I was building that, I was kind of like, I feel like it should have some sort of connection that's visible, So I think for the 3 town lots, that little change made them also feel like they fit in with the world a lot more seamlessly, especially, if we're not having to load between them, it kind of just looks like it's part of the world sitting back there really nicely. So like here, for example, we've got the world here and then the lot line is just there, but we've got the matching terrain paints and all that sort of just really bring it together. And I love that. I love that was done. And same over on this lot as well. It's a bit hard to see at nighttime, we might get today, but it blends really nicely in there.
There are a lot of really cool details like that, I think, with the world. Like the environment folks and also design and that worked on it and production too. Morgan, I think, was the producer for World. Did a really awesome job of like setting the scene. I think one of my favorite smaller details of it is, well, it's not small, but I guess it's not as like easy to notice at first glance. The division of the river kind of marks like almost the territory of the 2 packs. So on the north side, I guess, if you're looking at the world map, you have the Moonwood Collective tree and the more like foresty area. And then across the river, you have like the town with the trailer, and that's the Wild Fangs.
You know what? I never put that together, but that is that makes so much sense. That is actually a really nice little detail.
Yeah, I didn't notice it too until I was like writing some of the text for the packs, like ask about packs interaction. And I looked at the map and I was like, whoa, that's so cool.
That is really cool. Yeah, so we've got the Wild Fangs just here, and they sort of hang out in this area. We've got the river in the middle, and up the back they've got the Moonwood Collective, and also the Moonwood Collective, Christopher and all that live just here too. And yeah, that's really cool. I never realized that. That's a nice detail.
Yeah, I think that almost feels like a happy accident coming out of some of the initial design intent, which was that when we were talking about this world very early on, we wanted there. It was kind of a challenge that we threw to the environment team, where we were like, well, we know we want a place that feels secluded. I know they were excited about doing something that felt like it was inspired by the kind of Canadian forest landscape. But we're
Mhm.
like, but we also want to have that feel of abandonment, right? That it used to be, and this was before we had kind of decided that it was specifically going to be like a lumber mill industry. That's kind of what left, right? But it was like we wanted this world that almost felt like two worlds, that was a world where it felt like there was some life, there was some sort of buildup, there was some sort of residence that has felt abandoned. So it didn't just feel like complete wilderness, right? But we
Mhm.
also were very excited about a world that had a bunch of forest area, that had a bunch of that wilderness, because that felt very almost like necessary for a werewolf story, right? We knew we had players that would want werewolves like running among the trees and stuff like that. And so that initial challenge of like, well, how can we deliver a world that's both of these, right? Like when usually with our worlds, we are trying to focus on a theme that is very cohesive. It's like it's sort of two different things here. And I think what we ended up with is just like a really kind of happy marriage of both of those, where it feels still like one place, right? But it feels like you're right on the border. You are right on the edge of this industrial area that starts to open into this forest.
Mhm.
And the fact that we were able to kind of put the two packs on either side of that also is great, helps reinforce that. But also like it's when like you make it's almost like you make these decisions so early on, and then to see them play out in a way where you're like, ah, yes, it seems like we naturally did this all from the very. Some of it is like some of it is happy accident, and some of it is kind of following on the the early decisions that we make and trying to continue to make the right ones. But that's yeah, I don't know that I would have ever thought of it like that, but that's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, that yeah, this world honestly is so great. So I guess everything came together so beautifully. And yeah, and it's like you said, it is a great environment for the werewolves as well to run around. And I love that the whole place, also feels nestled in with the forest, and you sort of get glimpses of the outside there. But if anyone was passing by this town, it's still hidden away. They probably wouldn't think twice. Looking if you're looking from the road. And I think that feel is perfectly met in this whole town. And it's just so nice. And I love this little place up here.
Yeah,
I
this ended up being like kind of a real centerpiece, right, in terms of this huge rock in the middle of the
Mhm.
town. It also came, I think, from we were talking about our designers, SimGuru Not Vlad, early on when we were talking about world design. She was like, I kind of want a place where I can send my werewolves in front of the moon and have them howl and get like a really good screenshot.
Yeah.
And that was like the real basis of like, what could that be? And it ended up being this howling point, right? Which is beautiful. It kind of really centers and anchors the entire world. But how sort of it's always interesting to me seeing how we track from like our very early ideas of like how did this come to be. It was like, hey, I want to be able to take a really cool howling screenshot in front of the moon. Like, where can we do that? How can we make that happen?
Mhm.
And that, like, combining our lunar cycle design with our world design to end up having this, and then it allowed us to also send your werewolf up there after their first transformation. I think hopefully most people are getting a kind of a surprising but funny moment out of that as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So how
And
do you? Oh,
oh,
sorry.
I was just gonna say a funny story about this. The only spot that you can find the moon petal, and I was the one of my features was plants, so moon petal. And the first time I went in to go test it, I think I scrolled around the town for like 15 or like 20 minutes just trying to find it. And I finally had to message Morgan because she knew the world so well because she was the producer on it. I was like, Morgan, please, I can't find the moon petal. Where is it? She was like, look on the big cliff. And I like hadn't even thought to look up there, but it was like the perfect spot for it.
That's funny. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have known it was there unless because it was pointed out. I think on the live stream that you guys did.
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, yeah, it makes so much sense. Like, oh, okay, yeah, of course. Yeah, so with the world, how do you decide, what you actually want each lot to be? Because we've got like the starter home, we've got a family home over there. Like, how do you begin to say, okay, we definitely want this old mill, we want the bunker versus, just, I'm just interested to like how you got to that point because you gave me this sort of brief overview of the general idea and then I took it from there. But before that, I'm just curious how you go from the this well is based on all the forest and milling and all that. Then you settle on, I guess, which lots you want, or what's the process like there?
Yeah, it's always a, I mean, it's always a discussion, right? It has to kind of like the world and the lots on it always have to serve a bunch of the other designs. And so it comes from a lot of the goals that we have for the other designs. And this world, I think, came from uh, what stories do we want to be able to tell with our pre-made sims here? We knew early on that we were also looking at kind of the two packs that were going to be here. We knew that we would have pack leaders and their stories. And so it was like, how many of them are living in the world, right? Which ones make sense to live in the world? Which ones do we want you to be able to step in and play immediately, maybe? And I don't think they're ever necessarily wrong answers to those questions, but as we start to answer those questions and feel more confident about them, that leads to some of those decisions of being like, okay, the Volkovs, like we feel like there's some storytelling that we really want to tell there in terms of uh, the Christopher being someone who takes people in, and Rory being someone who kind of like had a disagreement in terms of werewolf philosophy and broke out from that. So it makes sense that maybe Rory isn't necessarily living in the world, but the Volkovs probably should. We should have some sort of leadership of the packs living in the world. Kind of takes up a lot. We probably want a starter lot because we're assuming that people who are buying werewolves, right, are going to come in and want to live in this world because it looks so cool. And being here has the advantage of you're always loaded into the world. And as we were playing with
Mm-hmm.
it, that like became, really clear. And so you kind of start to earmark right lots to being like what are the stories that are necessary and then what are the different ways that we can then support the other things that we want, which are um if we know that there are things that are important to the packs, if there are kind of like thematic things that are important to the packs, what venues or lots might help tell that story, right? And so having that was something where like we kind of went back and forth a little bit on that library lot, which was
Mm-hmm.
like, what do we want? What feels like? I think the initial question we asked ourselves was like, what feels like a good community lot for werewolves, right? Where would werewolves hang out? And because we're the Sims, one of those answers is always, a bar. We can't get enough of our bars, and it's a great place for Sims to hang out. But we also wanted the bar to feel like maybe the story when we wanted to tell there was that, oh, it's like a neutral ground for occults. And if you had other occult packs, that they show up there and that we can put some story around. Eventually, it became the bartender, right? Celine, who is not a werewolf, but like moved here and was trying to find a place where she could bring a bunch of occults together and try and like have a place where they could all sort of maybe be friendly, have a drink, have a bite, and that could be a place for that. But we also wanted really a place that it was like this is where werewolves would go just to kind of do the things that they need to do. And it was, I think the library ended up being like, how do we combine these sort of like different motivations of these two packs, right? Where we have something that feels like, oh, the Moonwood Collective is more intellectual. They're more about learning about their history and werewolves and like how they can be a part of this kind of like universe of Sims. But the Wildfangs also, we know they're going to have their own place, but is there anything we can do with the library to make it feel like it's a place where both of the packs hang out? Because another thing we were very interested in was making sure that when you came in, it didn't feel like these packs were at each other's throats, right? We wanted to feel like this is an area that all the werewolves hang out, and they have difference of opinion, but they're both here to kind of make this town better. And so that's why it ended up feeling it was like, well, we'll make it a library. So we have that sense of like there's a calm place to hang out. But also we'll ask James to like put that gym in the back for the Wild Fangs and
Yeah.
make it feel like it's like this town. It's like two things kind of like smashed together, right?
Hmm.
And so for me, a lot of that was trying to figure out what are the stories in this world? What are the stories of this pack? And how much of that can we put on the lots, right? Like some of that is going to be in the underground, in the interactions and the socials. But where can we make sure that the world is reinforcing that so that as you're moving around here, you're seeing those and you feel like, oh, it doesn't feel like there's a random venue just slapped in here because we haven't had, like a library in a while or anything like that. But it felt like it was contributing to why these werewolves had moved here. Like, what have they done with this place, right? What would they have changed these lots into to make it most useful to them?
I will say too, I think like on the micro level, like not just like what types of lots are like informed by other designs, but like this might seem a little obvious, but like what objects get placed in the world or on the lots is also informed a lot by other designs. Like I think there are a lot of cool examples of that in Moonwoodville. Like one of them, and correct me if I'm wrong, James, this might have been your idea initially, but I think it was our request to have the observatory still at the library. Uh,
Mhm.
Even with the small telescope because of the new moon prints you could get from only the observatory to make sure that like that option was still available because folks are probably really clamoring to use the small telescope, but let's have an observatory available so that players can still maybe stumble upon the new moon print collection or addition to the space print collection. And like
Yeah.
the another kind of like clear example is like the workout equipment with the wild fangs and the gardening plots by the Moonwood Collective. Those are both like kind of informed by the pack pre-made pack designs.
Hmm. Yeah, the I think we added the larger observatory. I think it was probably near the end because of the new collectible prints. Um, and actually because we weren't sure if it was going to work, but surprisingly the color scheme of that, like, I feel like it works really well. And I put it down when I originally put it down. I was like, "Oh, this totally works. This makes sense." But it's kind of funny, because players come in and they're like, "Why is this here? We got the new telescopes." So it's quite
It
funny.
picks up the yellow accent from the
Yeah, yeah,
scaffolding.
yeah. It totally worked, which is cool. It's also good because it's just another thing you can do on the slot as well. So when you're loaded in, you can use that as well, rather than traveling somewhere else to find something to do, which is really cool. Yeah, I love the I do really like the how more occults are drawn to this particular bar. Is that something that would happen if I, for example, turned another lot into a bar? Is it like tied to this world that you would have more occults coming by to the bar lots?
I believe that's true.
Hmm.
Yes. I think it
Yeah.
is any bars in Moonwood Mill have that sort of
Okay.
that underlying
Yeah,
part.
that is a lot of fun because I always see I think Vlad's always showing up, which is always a bit of fun, and then scaring him for money.
Next plan is to make every lot a bar and just see what happens.
Can have because the high school years is next. Every lot in the teen world bar makes sense.
That's
Yeah,
what
no,
Team's Brave.
I really like just that little detail as well of drawing more cults here is really nice. Like that just also adds to the lore of the world in maybe like a more subtle way. I don't know if everyone would pick up on that unless they were told. I mean, obviously you see them showing up, but like it's just something that just happens, which I really really like about it. So, yeah, we've got
And
a
I'm happy that we got the bus bar was also something that our modeling and art team were really excited about. And I think that also helps, right? Like I think we on the team understand that not every world needs a bar, but it to and so anytime story wise we're like, oh, what would feel good here is a bar, right? Like it feels like having a werewolf bar in Werewolf Town feels like a cool thing, and it feels like a place where you could hang out, and maybe we could bring some people that weren't werewolves and it would feel good. There's always that little bit of just like, yeah, we know, but we also do a lot of bars. And the fact that we were able to create a bar that is so visually distinct, I think made it a lot easier to be like, yes, this
Mhm.
feels like not like we're just putting, a Willow Creek bar in Moonwood Mill, right? Like this is Moonwood Mill's bar. There's no doubt about that. You won't come here and feel like you're just going to any old bar. So I think
Totally.
that was really nice, and this object is great.
It's so cool. I mean, yeah, I mean, just look how many bars we got. So the fact that it looks so different and unique is really nice. I mean, to be honest, in this particular world, it's not even really something I thought about, because yeah, it's a bit of a joke to laugh at how many bars there are in each world, but it also makes sense because that's the place you hang out, especially if you've got, you know, one pack and base game. It's typically a good lot to use for that. And in this case, yeah, it works really well because that's the bar, but it also draws all the occults, and you also have the werewolf hangout. You know, I feel like there's so much to do here that it's not, you're not just like, oh, a bar, you know. It's actually really unique in that sense, which I really, really like. And I mean, we got a spellcaster here. There's werewolf sparring in the background, you know, like it's just a bit of fun. It's just something different, and that's really, really cool to see. This the Sims 4 Werewolves is, I've had so much fun with it. I think I just the other day became the alpha of both packs. I have 2 Sims, and that was fun. It was actually kind of hard to overthrow the pack leaders. I had to work out a lot to beat them. So that was actually a fun little challenge as well to get to the top.
Yeah, Rory and Christopher are no joke.
I'm gonna be honest, I underestimated Christopher. He beat me, I think, 3 times. He didn't look as ripped as I thought he was, but I didn't stand a chance. So
No.
that was fun though. I really like the challenge behind that too.
Yeah, he's a gentle soul, but he's got pride in his leadership.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we definitely wanted to make it feel like becoming an alpha was like an undertaking, because you can do it from any rank, but you have to really make sure that you've like put in the time and effort to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I spent. I don't know how much time I actually spent, but I just I was hitting up the gym in the library, just getting as ripped as I possibly could. And then I think even when I was fully ripped, I still failed. So I underestimated him. I needed to work out more. But it was a great little challenge to do that. Yeah, I think the 2 packs, I think that also element of the gameplay is a lot of fun, and interacting between them. And then also when you do become the alpha, is you almost, you know, they still have the story behind them, and I guess each of their different ways of approaching being a werewolf. But you can kind of, you know, start putting in your own little flavors, inviting who you want to each pack, and I think that's really fun. I turned, I think, Agnes Crumplebottom into a werewolf and invited her in, and we're having a great time. So it's really fun to get to that stage.
Good ally to have. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
He's,
I mean,
he's pretty good in a fight as well, I've heard.
Yeah. I said to her when I was turning, I was like, look, you can hit as many people as you want with your handbag if you join, you know. It's going to be great.
Yeah, I don't think we necessarily talked about it. Because so we have enough, you know, content in The Sims 4 that we often run into these kind of like very strange questions when we are going to tune the game. And I think something that we did in when we introduced Agnes Crumplebottom was behind the scenes, we said, you can fight Agnes Crumplebottom, just like in a normal Sim fight. But you'll never beat her. She'll always beat you in a fight, right? And then we got to werewolves, and we were like, well, there's going to be these factors of who wins a werewolf fight or not. And we were like, well, when you fight with a werewolf and a vampire, like who has the natural advantage, right? There's things where it's like if you have garlic in your pocket with like other, like if you are a normal sim, if you have garlic in your pocket, it helps. But if you do, you're like pretty likely going to win as a werewolf. And then taking fitness into account and all that stuff. And then we ran into this question of just like, well, how strong is our conviction in this whole kind of like, Agnes should always win a fight if she's fighting against our werewolves. If we have like a super ripped, right, like alpha werewolf with all the benefits and the perks, like should Agnes still win? And I'm trying to remember what we actually tuned in the end, because I think we went back and forth a little bit. And you know, I think again, it's one of those questions. I don't think there's a wrong answer, but I believe that Agnes will still beat most, if not all, our werewolves in a straight up like one-on-one fight. She's just too much.
You know, I didn't know that with the werewolf. I'm keen to try that out now to see what happens. Yeah, that's it. I mean, yeah, it must get, you know, as there's more and more packs, those little things must get so you know, there's so many things to pay attention to, you know, when you're adding new stuff. And I think, I guess cases like that, it's actually kind of, it must be kind of fun figuring out what is the solution there, you know. Figuring out
And
that
it's
little
often
problem.
like that's not in our initial designs, right? Like our initial designs were like, hey, here are the factors which we knew there was going to be a lot of sparring, right? We knew that there was going to be a desire from a player standpoint to fight as a werewolf. It's a really cool animation. It's a really like being a ferocious werewolf means that's what you're going to want to do. And so we did spend some time thinking about like what are the factors that would mean you would win a fight, right? How much calculation? And I think it was only when we went to actually implement that feature and someone was looking at the tuning and was like, okay, we're going to add these multipliers here and like we're going to test for these things, and then being like, what is this carve out that we have here that's like they always win? And I was like, oh, that's Agnes Crumplebottom. What do we want to do here? Like, do we respect that, or are we saying our werewolves can defeat her? And so it's like a discovery for us as well when we're kind of working on it, which is always interesting and fun.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I encounter that a lot with packs, like testing out packs. Like, what happens if you take a max fame celebrity and put them in a pack and like see how they interact with like the other werewolves around them, like stuff like that. There's all these like little things that will come up just as you're playing, and it's interesting during the testing phase of like, okay, maybe we want to like focus in on this a little bit more and see what direction we can take it, or like control for like certain situations that might pop up.
Yeah. And I actually, one thing that I also quite liked was the option to keep werewolves in Moonwood Mill. So, you know, you don't travel to where, let's say, Del Sol Valley and see a werewolf wandering around. And so I like the inclusion of that option as well, because it was actually quite funny, because I think with the Moonwood Collective, some of the activities you got to do is, you know, the werewolf diplomacy, go around, get non-werewolf sims to, you know, show sympathy towards werewolves. And I went to, I think, a festival in San Myshuno, and I had a nice like suit on. I was trying to convince people that werewolves are okay, and then there was another werewolf that showed up and was enraged, and they turned and they were chasing everyone away. And I'm like, it's okay, guys, we're not all like this. I mean, that was really funny. I actually really enjoyed that. But the inclusion of that option so that doesn't happen is also really appreciated too.
One of the Wild Fangs kind of their whole philosophy goes like directly against that game option, I think.
Yeah.
Like one of the if you ask a sim who doesn't live in Moonwood Mill and who isn't a werewolf about packs, one of the potential responses you can get is about a Wild Fang member coming by the other day and marking their territory on their front porch. And like, why can't all werewolves just be like the nice Moonwood Collective werewolves that come by and say, like, I'm a werewolf and I'm nice.
Yeah. It is. Yeah, I actually I love that aspect of how differently you can play as a werewolf. That was a really nice inclusion as well. And the 4 different little aspiration trees you can follow. So you start off with the werewolf initiate, and then there's 4 different ways you can go after that, which is really nice. But I think that's all we've got time for today. So thank you so much, GrimSuruDoi and SimGuruNova, for joining me and talking about this pack. I personally have really enjoyed playing this pack and experience everything that you've put into it. So thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was a blast. Thanks for building these lots.
Oh, thanks for letting me. It was so much fun. It was so much fun to work with all you guys and figure out how it was all going to tie in with the world and the lore. But yeah, thank you so much once again for spending time with me, chatting about the world and how it all worked. Unfortunately, that's all the time that I have today for my stream. However, coming up right now, right after me, here on this channel, MXM Toon is going to be streaming as well. So make sure to stay tuned for that. But thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you next time, and have an awesome day.